And welcome back to Bayou Time. A very special guest that I have with me is my former humanities teacher, now a judge here in Terrebonne Parish on his fourth term, re-elected, 74% of the vote. I'm talking about Judge Randall Bethancourt. Sometimes you may hear us call him Uncle Randy. That all comes back from the days that he taught school at Vanderbilt and a lot of other things. And I was fortunate enough to have him as a humanities teacher, and he started me off in genealogy because you gave us a choice back in 1978 to either do a term paper or trace our genealogy. So Martin Folse picked genealogy.
Yes. Okay.
Learned a lot.
It was a lifelong lesson.
It really was.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was a great class. You were a great teacher, by the way.
Well, thank you. Kind to say that. It was fun to teach y'all. Y'all had a bunch of smart students in your class. Y'all were smart. Y'all were good.
That's why I sat in the back.
No, you were very, very good, and it was a pleasure teaching y'all. It's always good teaching kids that want to learn or are interested. So we did a lot of interesting things that year, as I recall.
Well, thank you.
Your year.
And I'm so proud, and the reason I have you here today is you've accomplished so much on the bench, but part of your being a judge, and look, we have great judges here in Terrebonne Parish. We have great judges in the area. It's not like that all over the country. We have tremendous judges here in the area. But it doesn't stop with just being a judge. You're a teacher judge. You go around mentoring kids, mentoring people throughout the state of Louisiana. You've been honored several times for taking this to another level. And I want to bring up something just to let the audience know sort of where I'm going. We're going to bring up the Louisiana State Bar Association presents the Catherine D. Kimball Award for Advancement of the Administration of Justice to the Honorable Randall L. Bethancourt, who has done exemplary work in advancing the administration of justice in the state of Louisiana. And that sort of makes my point here, and I want to go a little further if I could, and I'll get Jen to come back as I read some. Public Official of the Year by the Louisiana chapter of the National Association of Social Workers. You're Vanderbilt Catholic High School Alumnus of the Year. Terrebonne Bar Association Community Service Award for 2008. CASA's Judge of the Year for the state of Louisiana in 2011. The Judge Benjamin Jones Judges in the Classroom Award presented by the Louisiana Center for Law and Civic Education in 2016. The Louisiana State Bar Association President's Award in 2019. You were inducted into the Vanderbilt Hall of Fame in the year 2019. You were reelected as a judge with the 32nd Judicial District Court in 2020 with 74%. Let me say it again, 74% of the vote. You received, if I recall, over 32,000 votes in that election. This is the highest percentage. I think it still stands today, the largest number of votes given to any parish-wide candidate. And I guess I'm hearing through this announcement, a little cliff note of activity, teaching has always been your repertoire. I mean, it's what you do.
It's my passion. I've always enjoyed it. I do have a teaching degree from LSU. I've always enjoyed being in the classroom and instilling some knowledge that I have onto the younger people. It's fun. I enjoy it. Yeah. I think, to be very honest with you, Martin, I think teaching or teachers are the most important professions that we have. We have to teach our young because our young grow up to be the leaders and the workers of the future. And the teachers have a very tough job, very tough job. And I do think education is very important. It's very important for all of us and for our community, our state, and our nation. So it's a passion.
One of the things you did as a teacher, we're going to play a little part of this award in the next segment and talk about it in a third segment. But with 2 minutes left in this segment, I want to bring up the fact that one of the things you did, you got us involved in elections and debates when you were a teacher. I had to sit in that front office and with these old 3/4-inch machines, sort of edit down the Nixon-Kennedy debate.
That's right.
That was one of the most interesting things I ever did as a student.
Well, you know, Martin, I remember that because it wasn't for now a dinosaur.
Yeah.
And we thought it was state of the art at the time,
Right.
a recording machine, so that you could play videos on television sets. It was a marvel. And I remember that we found Richard Nixon's campaign manager.
Yeah.
We didn't have the internet back then. We found him. He was retired in Sarasota, Florida. And you helped me interview him over the phone.
Yeah.
And we used that as part of the learning process. And it was really interesting. And yes, and we even staged a mock convention,
did.
the national convention for presidential convention.
And what got us is that Richard Nixon did not shave.
That's right. For
He
the
didn't put makeup on. And Kennedy had a beautiful tan because he'd been in California tanning.
That's right.
And image had a lot to do with it.
That's right, absolutely. Those that heard it on the radio but didn't see it thought Nixon had won that debate.
Right.
But people that actually saw it thought Kennedy won that debate.
Yeah.
He represented youth, vigor.
And so part of what I'm leading into, and in the next segment, we'll get more into the presentation, but you thought outside the box. You continue to think outside the box as a judge. Come back as we continue to talk with Judge Randall Bethancourt, honored again. Not the first time he's been honored, and the Louisiana State Bar Association presented the Catherine D. Kimball Award for Advancement of the Administration of Justice to the Honorable Randall L. Bethancourt, who is here with me today. And I want to turn to the good judge. Am I correct saying there's about 350 judges,
Right.
which includes the Supreme Court in Louisiana?
Right, about 350 altogether, yes.
So they got to pick one person every year for this award.
Well, I was very, very honored to be picked by my colleagues from around the state. It is a big honor to me personally. It's humbling, and I'm very grateful that they chose me. And as I said, it's a big honor to receive this.
Y'all, I don't know if all judges sit on Supreme Court committees, but I know you do.
Right. So the Supreme Court calls upon some judges to help them do the business of the judiciary around the state. So there's many, many committees. And they ask judges, would you participate in such and such committee? We don't have to. We don't get paid extra. You don't get anything at all. But it's public service. It's giving back. So I've been on various committees, probably a dozen or so through the 20 years I've been a judge. And they're fun. They're interesting. For example, I was on a committee, we studied the prisons in Louisiana. So we went to every prison in the state of Louisiana to study what was going on there, what was good, what was bad, what needed to be changed, what could be improved, and so forth. Really interesting. Stuff that you wouldn't ordinarily see in a local community. So I'll give you, and we study technology. We have a committee on judges in the classroom program. There's a
Sort of like going back to your humanities
That's right,
class where you had to be there. You had to feel like what you were learning was there.
That's right, exactly. You know, our Chief Justice Weimer, who is from Thibodeau and in our district, Judge Weimer is Chief Justice of Louisiana Supreme Court. And he has made it his business to get all judges in the state involved in going into classrooms for obvious reasons. You send a judge to a classroom to teach, but also to warn them of, if you do make the wrong choice, there are consequences.
He was a teacher too.
That's right, exactly.
You're a teacher
That's right,
too. Yeah.
exactly. So he knows. So this judge in the program was started by a wonderful judge, Benjamin Jones, about 27 years ago. He literally wrote the book of, so judges could go into the classrooms. It would be easy. Judges didn't have to reinvent the wheel. He kind of gave us the lesson plans and all. He did a wonderful job. I was president of the LCLCE, Louisiana Center for Civic and Legal Education, on its 25th year anniversary. So I had the pleasure of updating the manual, and Judge Benjamin Jones is still around. He's up in Monroe, and he's a great guy, and his passion was going into classrooms, to teach the students about law, government, and so forth. So,
And it's a great thing. Let's do this while we have a little time in this second segment. We'll come back in the third segment to talk about it, but they have some video of the presentation, and the Honorable Judge led off, but then it turned tables. Let's listen in.
Our next hour presentation is entitled Hurricane Ida Coverage and Litigation Issues. And I'm happy to present the speakers to y'all. The first is H. Minor Pipes III. H. Minor Pipes III. Y'all all know that I'm from Houma, so and I always playing with the H's on my pipe later on. And he is founding member of Pipes, Miles, and Beckham, and he brought with him his associate, Patrick Lorio. Patrick went to Tulane undergraduate and Columbia Law School, and he's back in New York to visit his alma mater, I suppose. So Minor actually graduated from LSU Law School. Before that, he graduated from Penn State. And before that, I'm proud to say that he graduated from Vanderbilt Catholic High School in Houma, where he was born and raised. So we're very proud of Minor in Houma. He is, of course, the immediate past president of your Bar Association. He just finished his responsibilities in June of this year. So he's going, that year's over. Did an excellent job as our president. So I want to thank him for being here. So I'm going to turn it over to H, Minor Pipes. And I'd like to say that the H is for Houma's Minor Pipes. All right, Minor, thank you very much.
Don't go far. Okay. So I'm going to take a moment for you. The CLE committee's going to be mad at me, but I'm going to use up a couple of minutes of your time to do something I should have done in June of this year, and that's I have a presentation to Judge Bethancourt. For those of you all that don't know Judge Bethancourt, you're missing out. Judge Bethancourt has been on the bench. It'll be next year 20 years in Terrebonne Parish. Before that, he spent 22 years practicing in Houma. He worked as an assistant district attorney and was a founding director of the Terrebonne Children's Advocacy Center. But what I'm presenting to him is the Catherine B. Kimball Award for Advancement in the Administration of Justice. And I will tell you, that Judge Bethancourt was an easy choice for this decision. Judge Bethancourt started at LSU. He then left and graduated from Loyola University, where he got his law degree. He was an inaugural member of the Louisiana Judicial Leadership Institute, sponsored by the Louisiana Supreme Court. He currently serves on the board of the Louisiana Center for Law and Civic Education, where he is the past president from 2018 to 2020. They gave him 2 years. They cut me off at a year. He serves on the Louisiana Supreme Court's Judges in the Classroom Task Force. He's also on the executive committee of the Judicial Judges Association, and he's a past recipient of the Judge Benjamin Jones Judges in the Classroom Award. But the most famous thing is he's in the Vanderbilt Catholic Hall of Fame, which I'm not, but one day maybe I'll work my way up to his level. Judge Bethancourt, it's been a pleasure, and thank you for everything.
Thank you very much.
You just saw the video in the previous segment of him winning another prestigious award. Let me just real quick, there's so much to read. We'll post this on Facebook and YouTube, but Judge Bethancourt attended the National Judicial College in Reno, Nevada, the only judicial college in the United States. Judge Bethancourt is a 2011 graduate of the inaugural class of the Louisiana Judicial Leadership Institute, sponsored by the Louisiana Supreme Court. Judge Bethancourt regularly trains prospective CASA, as court-appointed special advocates volunteers. And he served as president of the Louisiana Center for Law and Civic Education following years of service on its board from 2018 to 2020. There's so many more I could read, but of course in TV we are limited to time. But what a great award. New York City, wow. Where do you go from here?
Well, the Louisiana legislature says I go into retirement in 4 years. They have placed age limits, so you can't run if you're a certain age.
Yeah, but can't you be an ad hoc?
Yes, I can be appointed by the
Yeah.
Louisiana Supreme Court.
You'll
which,
be an ad hoc.
hopefully I'll be in a position to do. So
Yeah.
I feel healthy, and I still love my job and enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm in good health, knock on wood, so we're going to keep on going.
I remember when you were sworn in, Judge Ellen's courtroom.
That's right.
He was talking about the energy, because he was picking at you about Mardi Gras and being, so involved in Mardi Gras, but he was talking about that energy that Randy has. He was dead on. Where do you get all that?
I really don't know, but ironically, my wife Adrienne is the healthy one in the family. She eats right. She eats a lot of vegetables and fruits and no red meat and so forth. I, on the other hand, good old Cajun boy, I eat from fried chicken. Don't tell my wife though. And
She knows now.
the gumbos and but I'm in good health and have a lot of energy, so I'm just blessed. That's also thank God for that. So comes from above.
When you think-
God has blessed me with some very healthy years. So thank God.
When you think about, of course, and I didn't know you early. I mean, y'all had a great group. I just remember seeing your name with Vanderbilt, with the basketball team, and on
Right.
those things that hung in the gym. But as you moved on and you taught us, and that's when I really got to know you, and then watching you ascend in your career, sometimes you have to just sit back and pinch yourself and go, man, what a great life I've had so far.
I've been very fortunate, very, very lucky. I've been at the right place at the right time. I've learned a lot from a lot of people, from my parents, from my wife, my daughter, other lawyers. I've learned firsthand how they operate, how they do things, and you pick up from those things. I've learned that to be successful, you got to do the work. You've got to be hands-on. For example, I saw a plaque in your waiting room out there. You were hands-on when this building was being, redone, and you see the success that arose from it. So I've learned firsthand that you've got to be there, doing the hard work, doing the grunt work, so to speak. Sometimes it's not fun, but you learn the business. You learn how to lead, and you learn how to do things that way. And so I've been very fortunate. I've had some very good coaches. And if I was going to name a few, but if I name a few, I'd forget some others. But honestly, I've been fortunate to be with lawyers that were excellent, very good teachers. As I said, my wife, wives teach a lot, and children do too. So my wife, Adrienne, and my daughter, Brooke, they've taught me a lot. And you don't think a child can teach. No, I disagree. Child can teach a lot to a parent.
Yeah, we could all be willing to learn. We got about a minute and a half left, but when you walked in, you said, how's it going, partner? And it automatically made me think of Mr. Joe Waits.
That's right. So he was one of my mentors, he and Hunt Downer. So I was with that firm for 10 years, my first 10 years as a lawyer, virtually first 10 years. My first year was with Elwood Wright, who was mayor of Houma many times.
Yeah.
He lived a very long life. He worked to the very end. He taught me, do not procrastinate. You do things now. He gave me a task. He wanted it back in 30 minutes.
Right.
You don't sit on it. You do it then. But Hunt Downer and Joe Waits, what an opportunity. Hunt was in the legislature when I was working with him, and I was kind of like his understudy. I did a lot of his work while he was in the legislature, legal-wise. And Joe Waits, you learn so much, my gosh. So I was very fortunate. As I said, right place at the right time with some great mentors. I'm very, very fortunate.
Well, on behalf of the community, we're very lucky to have you as judge. I was fortunate to have you also as a teacher, so congratulations. Great award.
Thank you.
Hopefully this won't be the last one. We'll get you up again to talk about any more you might win, but thanks once again on what you do for the community.
Well, you're quite welcome, and thank you very much for acknowledging that, and thank you for having me on your show. And thank the citizens of Terrebonne Parish. I don't take it lightly that the citizens elected me to hold this seat for a very temporary time.
All right,
So
there
I
you
want to
have
thank
it.
the citizens.
All right, the judge, Randall Bethancourt. Great award, and we'll have a lot more on By Your Time, so don't go away.